Greetings viewers, if you click the video link, you're here to listen to me talk about how to shoot fast with a pistol. So wouldn't we all like to be Jerry Michalik running around and being able to dump multiple rounds in under a second and actually be able to do it accurately? So let's just jump right in and start talking about it. So how do we get faster? Well, if you're a cheapskate like me, you're probably not going to want to hear this next part because it involves having to buy something, but hear me out for just a second. It's actually a pretty valuable tool if you're able to use it depending on your shooting circumstances. Perhaps you're using an indoor range or somewhere that doesn't allow you to use a shot timer. And that's what I'm recommending to get, because if you're wanting to shoot faster, how else would you be able to gauge what's faster or not? Have you ever taken a test and thought, you know what, I did really well on it, and then come to find out you bombed it, or vice versa, and you felt horrible about it and come to find out you aced it? So our perception isn't necessarily always a good judge of reality, so having some sort of piece of equipment that can hold us accountable and actually give us some raw numbers that we can look at and have something to compare to try and improve and get better. So in terms of equipment and buying things, like I said, that's the only thing that I'm going to recommend. If you really want to actually shoot faster and be able to gauge yourself and have something to compare and hold yourself accountable to, get a shot timer. It really doesn't matter what brand you get as long as it's got some decent functions on it, one of them being having a par time. And I'll explain what that is, and we'll kind of put that into practice in a bit when I show you some drills that you can do with it. The particular shot timer that I use is a CED 7000. I have another video where I installed the RF chip in it, so I'm able to connect it to the big signboard that you see in my videos now when I'm shooting. So that's kind of a handy feature, again, if you're filming for other people to see, or your competitions and other people are going to keep track of your times instead of just the judge. That's something good to have. However, we're just talking about you as an individual. So you're a concealed carry holder and you're just trying to get quicker when you're shooting, or if maybe you're shooting USPCA or 3-gun or something and you're struggling in the handgun department and you want to get better and get faster. Well, number one, before you even buy any piece of equipment, just buying this alone is not going to make you faster. It's going to help, again, keep you accountable, give you some raw data to look at, to compare yourself to, but nothing's going to be your fundamentals. Your grip, your stance, your sight alignment, your trigger pull, all that stuff is invaluable, because you can shoot as fast as you want, but are you going to be able to hit the target? The last thing that you want to have happen is get into a shooting with somebody and this is what you look like. And you don't want that to happen. So we want to be able to shoot fast, but we want to shoot accurately. So how do we find that sweet spot in that balance between speed versus accuracy? Because again, you can shoot all day long and put 3 to 5 rounds downrange in under a second, but how good are those shots really when it comes to looking at the target? Or you can shoot the bullseye out of the center of the target and just put all your rounds in one hole, but how long is it taking you to do that? You're taking 10 seconds to shoot one round. Well, that's 10 seconds that a bad guy's pulling the trigger on you indiscriminately, not really caring, and probably getting a couple lucky hits in just because they're pointed in your general direction. So you don't want to have that issue, and we want to find out how to get faster, but also how to get more accurate at the same time. So, like I mentioned, a really handy feature with the shot timer. Normally, just push the button, it starts, it has a beep, and you shoot, and it just records how fast you shoot, and every shot it counts and gives you the numbers on that. Well, you can also do what I mentioned is called a par time. So a drill that I like to do that's really going to help you with this speed versus accuracy and finding out where you fall in there and giving you some, again, raw data and putting you under a little bit of pressure on the clock. You don't really realize sometimes when you're trying to fight against that shot clock how much stress it's actually inducing on you, and it's actually a good thing. It's a good kind of stress because it makes you do better, or want to strive to do better anyway. So as I'm going to demonstrate here on the range, I'm going to set my par time for 5 seconds. Well, what's a par time on a shot timer? So when you get that first initial beep, when it goes off, that's your go signal saying, hey, do whatever you got to do, get some shots off, and I'm going to start recording the times that it takes for you in between each one of those shots. Well, the par time, you get your initial beep, and so let's just say, for example, in the first round I'm going to show you here, we set the par time at 5 seconds. So once that shot timer beeps to give you your initial go signal, it's going to count down 5 seconds, it's going to beep again. And then basically that's just, that second beep is saying your time's up. Hope you got all your shots off in time, or whatever it was you were planning to do in that 5-second window. So after getting your hands on a shot timer that has a par time feature on it, set your timer to have a 5-second par time. I usually give myself a 3-second delay if I'm shooting by myself, because I don't have somebody else there to push the start button, and then I've got to go from holding my timer to get my gun to shoot. I can get in my ready position first. So I usually have a 3-second delay once I press start. I've got this thing hanging around my neck, so I hit start, let it dangle, get ready to shoot. the initial beep goes off, and I've got 5 seconds to get rounds on the target. I will recommend that if you're doing this for the first time and you're, again, just trying to gauge where you fall in this kind of matrix here on speed versus accuracy and where you're going to fall in the chart, I would say start at 5 seconds. So set your 5-second par time, go from just a normal standard position to getting your gun out, getting your sights on target, and getting 1 round off. So now you can see, hey, you know, that 1 round, I had a lot of time left over, so I have a little bit more time to get my grip right. I've got more time to get my sights lined up. I don't want to slap the trigger, so I'm going to be a little bit more smooth in my pull, and I'm going to dial that in until I'm hitting bullseye or I'm comfortable with where my shot placement is on the target. As you'll see here in the video, I'm going to do 5 individual rounds just like that. So 5-second par time. I'm going to shoot 1 round 5 different times. So then now that I've completed the 5 seconds, I'm going to bump my par time down to 4 seconds. So again, if this is you and you're doing this yourself, you're going to see how much time you have left after your shot when you feel comfortable taking it until that second beep goes off saying, hey, your 5 seconds is up. So now we've moved on to 4 seconds. So we've taken an entire 1 second off, and it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it kind of feels like it, especially when you're putting pressure on yourself to get your shot or shots off before that second beep. So now we're just going to work 4 times. We're going to put 1 round on the target on 4 seconds, going from a just comfortable standing position to drawing and putting 1 round on target in 4 seconds 4 different times. Again, now we're just going to keep with that trend, and we're going to go down to 3 seconds, and you can kind of feel that crunch a little bit. So I think my personal window here where I start to kind of fall apart, I guess you could say, is somewhere between that 3 and 2 second window, because you're rushing and you're trying to beat that clock. So you are putting pressure on yourself, which again is a good kind of stress because you're pushing yourself to do better and be better and get better. So this is why we do that. So it's not the same adrenaline dump that you're going to get trying to make a hostage shot during an active shooter event. However, again, that little bit of extra good stress that you're putting on yourself is going to help you to strive to do better. So now we're getting down into the 3 second window here, and I've got 3 seconds to draw, get my sights lined up, and squeeze my trigger and put at least 1 round on target in 3 seconds. So then same thing, now we're going to go down to 2 seconds, and now it's really rushed. So let's say you're following along and you're doing this drill and you're bumping the times down, and now you get to 2 seconds, and 2 seconds is where you're just falling apart. And you either can't get the round off, or you're getting it off just in time, or you're shooting it way off target because you're rushing and you're not getting your fundamentals right. So this is where you stop before you get frustrated. So before you get frustrated and you're like, you know, man, I can't do this. This is a bunch of bull crap. I watched all Jerry Michelik's videos and I can't shoot as fast as him. Don't do that to yourself. We're going to stop at that 2 second mark, and we're going to bump it back, and we're going to go to 3, and that's the space that we're going to operate in. And we're going to sit there and we're going to work on that 3 seconds. Even if you're out there and you blow a whole box of ammo on just that 3 second window, you have somewhere that you know you fall on that chart where we're going speed and accuracy and where you're kind of meeting there. And that's the space we're going to operate in. So once you get that dialed down and you say, you know what, all right, the 3 second windows where things kind of start to unravel, I'm going to lock myself in there and we're going to hash this out. I'm going to make it a priority to get a better grip on my pistol. I'm going to practice a smoother trigger pull so I'm actually getting my shots on the target and not throwing them off to the left or right. I'm going to get those sights lined up because I don't even have them lined up before I'm pulling the shot off, and no wonder I'm not hitting the target. So we're going to, again, operate and function in that space. So then once you get comfortable and now you're in that 3 second window, and every time you pull out and you're getting that 1 shot and you're drilling the bullseye, well, now it's time to try to get 2 shots off or 3 shots or however many you can get within that bubble there of that 3-second window. And then again, so now let's just say you are operating in that space, and every time you go to the range, you're just practicing, and you got that 3-second par time, and you're shooting and shooting and shooting, and now you're drilling that bullseye with all 3 rounds in under 3 seconds. Well, then now it's time again to hold yourself accountable, and you can get that done. Let's move on to 2 seconds, and let's try and see how many rounds we can squeeze in 2 seconds. Now, going from a draw position under a cover garment, you're going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage anyway. This isn't an open class holstered shooting competition. You're not starting with the pistol in your hand, or again, maybe you are, depending on your shooting situation. You may be at a range that doesn't allow you to draw from the holster. Well, again, I can't control the rules at the range where you go, but you can kind of adapt and overcome and get things worked out to meet whatever needs that you have. So let's just say, for example, you're at an indoor range, or they don't allow rapid fire, they don't allow you drawing from the holster, but you can use your shot timer. Well, that's a good thing. We can work with that. So you can leave your pistol sitting on the bench in a ready to shoot position. You're just standing kind of in a nice, comfortable, relaxed stance. Your shot timer goes off, you grab it off the bench. Now, granted, that's not going to be as good as going from your holster. However, that's something you're going to have to practice on your own. So at home, standing in front of the mirror, you may need to work on the draw portion and just get comfortable getting your cover garment out of the way, grabbing it, getting a good grip, getting your sights lined up and on target. And one reason I usually will say a mirror, and I like to use a mirror, is because I'm able to actually point my gun at a human target, which is a reflection of me, without actually violating a safety rule and pointing my gun at somebody or something I don't intend to shoot. And it's kind of a realistic scenario too. You're pointing it at an actual human being, yourself, without pointing it at yourself. It may seem kind of obvious, may seem kind of silly. So if somebody's wearing a t-shirt that's got crazy designs and colors and stuff on it, is a lot different than shooting at a cardboard target that has designated zones on it with lines and numbers. People don't come equipped with those unless you happen to find a bad guy walking around with a shirt that has a USPCA target on the front of it. I doubt that's going to happen. So it's nice to have that other change as well, so you're not getting stagnant and looking at the same shoot and see target or picture of Osama bin Laden, whatever it is that you're shooting at, or Coke cans. If you're doing this and you're trying to get better for a self-defense type scenario, why not have a target that's a little bit more lifelike and accurate? So again, you're practicing that draw elsewhere, you go to the range, and now you're able to operate within the scope of the range rules. So just another quick video. I did have to do all of the shooting portion outside before I recorded sitting here. The weather here in Florida has been absolutely terrible. My camera equipment is not waterproof, so I can't just go out in the rain and shoot. So it kind of messes things up a bit. So hopefully you found something useful in this video. If you have any further questions, or you feel like there's something I didn't cover in this video, or maybe you want a little bit more information about this particular shot timer, I'll be glad to do a video on it. I'd be glad to answer any questions. I do my best to respond to every single one of your guys' comments. Thankfully, I'm not a big enough channel yet that there's so many people commenting I can't keep up. So again, I don't want you to feel left out. If you have any questions, you think there's something I didn't cover, please don't feel like you have a stupid question. Go ahead and ask, and I'll do my best to answer it. Or if it requires something a little bit more detailed than just a response in text, I'll be glad to do a video on something to make things a little bit more understandable. My whole goal is for education and helping get information out to you guys and girls, help make your life a little bit easier, stress-free, and hopefully putting a little bit more accurate rounds on target. So if you've made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel the need to do. I'm always open to constructive criticism or feedback. If there's anything I can do to make my videos better for you, if the volume's too low, the video quality sucks, you want a different angle, just let me know. So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.